Greetings and welcome to the Recombobulation Area. My name is Dan Schaefer. Thank you for joining us. The 18th annual Milwaukee Film Festival is happening from April 16th through the 30th, with nearly 250 films screening as part of the festival. The Recombobulation Area is proud to be a community partner on 3 films in the Documentary Festival Favorites program: The Dads, Seized, and Your Attention Please. We're thrilled to be joined by the filmmakers behind Your Attention Please, Sara Robin and Jack LeMay. Sara and Jack, thanks for joining us and welcome to the Recombobulation Area.
Thanks for having us, Dan.
Hey, how's it going?
So I'm very excited to that your film is screening as part of the Milwaukee Film Festival here. I think perhaps we could start with just a little background on how this film came to be, how it got started, how it got made. So give me the gritty backstory of Your Attention Please here.
Yeah, the gritty backstory. So for both of us, we had experiences with social media and phone culture that led us to question if that is, in our benefit. I think for me, a lot of it was around being so addicted that I had a hard time focusing on anything else. I'm a big reader, and back in 2019, all of a sudden I realized I couldn't actually make it through a single page in a book without just like grabbing this, like kind of all the time. And I thought that was a problem, especially because I really used to love to read growing up. And so I started this long journey of trying to get my focus back. And then eventually that led to Your Attention Please.
Yeah, my journey is kind of similar, but adjacent to Sara's. I, had also been off social media in the early days of Facebook when I realized checking up on my ex wasn't the most healthy thing to do, rather than just sort of smelling the flowers and moving on. So I got back into social media in the late 20-teens. But after COVID, I had decided that I wanted to do this epic hike across the country on the PCT. So I was having this amazing, super in my body experience with my backpack, but using Instagram to keep my friends and family apprised of what I was doing. And as great as that was, it also started to sort of trickle into how I thought about the hike. I was out there experiencing amazing unplugged time in America's beautiful forests and meeting cool people. And I was like, maybe this mountaintop would make a cool photo and I could do this caption, right? So as it started to creep in to the experience, I realized I need to delete this for the remainder of the hike. And maybe I can make a documentary about it later. And so I think coming out of that hike and back into society, it was just such a reverse culture shock of like, wow, this is the direct polar opposite, this world that we've constructed where we mostly relate to each other through our screens and through our devices. And I think it just really, it put me in a direction where I wanted to create something that was meaningful, that could engage with that topic. And about a year later, Sara approached me and was already, a year into her journey of making this film. And we basically partnered up to try to bring it to life.
Mm-hmm. So as you were getting into it, diving in to make this a documentary and all of that, what really stood out to you? What surprised you as the further you got into it?
Yeah, what stood out to me at the time when I started was how many people were actually keen to get advice. In the years prior to that, I've been curious about social media for a long time. And in the years prior, people were kind of like, I don't really want to think about this. Don't make me feel bad about my habits, And then 2022, when I got into that, people were like, wait, what are you doing? What's that trick? Why is your screen black and white? Can you tell me? Like, I need that too. I'm on it too much. Like, I find it disrupting all these things. So that was really interesting to see that we could already see that shift happening. And I think now it's really, being talked about a lot. So that was both stood out to me. It was also very surprising because the decade prior, it was really hard to talk about this stuff. And I tried, a few times. And
Yeah. And even over the course of making the film from 2023 till now, I mean, you can see this marked shift in the average person that you talk to. When we approached people 3 years ago and said, do you think this is one of the major issues we're facing, or is your relationship with your phone dysfunctional? Is it at the root of some of the issues you're having in your life? Most people would, say it probably has something to do with it, but they'd be a little skeptical of how deep that problem really gets. I think now we have a lot more people being like, thank God this film is coming out. I've been thinking about this. I want to sort of gain my control over how much I use my phone, how much it intermediates my social life. And how much it demands my attention away from what I really want to be doing. So yeah, it's been interesting just in the process of making the film, seeing that evolution take place.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I feel like I'm starting to see that more and more in my day to day as well. Just like I'm a parent of young kids, and so obviously like that is top of mind for me, and just like how people interact with social media in the next generation of all that. But even I think I'm seeing some people, take steps in their own lives to try to separate, the real from the digital in a lot of ways. Like a friend of mine recently got a new phone that only has the capability to call and text and take black and white photos. And so, not even able to connect to the internet or anything like that. Do you think that is, do you think we'll be seeing that kind of a shift more and more in the years to come as people reevaluate their relationships with social media?
I think so. Excuse me. And particularly because these tools right now are still designed to be so sticky, they really pull us in. I mean, for me, it's impossible to open my Instagram and actually do what I set out to do. I always get sucked in for a little bit first, and then I go back to what I was planning to do. And as long as these tools work that way, really stepping away from them regularly is probably the best thing we can do. It's definitely immediately the best thing we can do. And I think especially for young people and for kids, we'll see those kinds of tools more. And then hopefully eventually we'll get a social media that respects our attention too. That would be nice.
That would be nice. Yeah, we're seeing all kinds of things. Like you mentioned something that's probably like the smart or the light phone, excuse me, which is one alternative for people that even want Google Maps and they want, texting, but they don't want all the email distraction. They don't want the internet at their fingertips all the time. There's also all the little things you can install, like the Opal app on your phone. You can turn your phone black and white to make it boring. And I think those are things we're seeing more and more. And I think they're ultimately just a Band-Aid solution for what we hope will be a larger cultural shift, where people sort of demand that these tools are designed differently so we can reprioritize being in person with people more as the focus of how we interrelate. And the tools are really used as a way to enhance that or increase that, the societal bonds being stronger and better versus polarizing us and pushing us in these divisive directions as they tend to.
Mm-hmm. So I had the opportunity to watch a little bit of the film. I haven't had a chance to watch the whole thing just yet, but one of the points that I found interesting that you identified there is kind of a certain kind of before and after tipping point in the way that, the internet is in social media. And I think the introduction of the like in 2009, I think it was,
Right.
seemed like a really interesting tipping point. Could you expand on that and why you identified that as such an important moment?
Yeah, I actually, by chance, that was the moment that I also started noticing, okay, something is off. And for me, that really happened because I started college in 2009, and I moved countries for that. And I moved from Germany, which was quite anti-social media at the time, a lot of concerns about data privacy, to Australia, which, people were more open to that. And my friends group all had Facebook, and the like button had just come out. So people were quite obsessed about how many likes they've gotten, and people were comparing numbers and all that. And I just remember thinking, oh, people do get really drawn into this thing, and I don't really get it. I don't really want to be counting my friends, so I don't think I'm going to go on this thing. But the point we're making in the film is that was the moment where the internet shifted from a space where you went out to explore and in a way, explore maybe more crazy sides of your personality, explore things that you wouldn't be comfortable, trying in real life, or maybe exploring what is it like to be in this community as a woman if I'm a man, and vice versa, right? You got to play. And once the like button came out, that shifted to a place where you wanted to please, you wanted to be accepted, you wanted to do well. And so a lot of that freedom to explore was taken away and kind of turned on its head. And I think especially for young people who are trying to figure out how they fit into the bigger picture, how to fit into their friends group, that is a really powerful shift.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we try to bring people back to that nostalgic place of looking at MySpace pages and, that had funny GIFs playing and looping on them and wallpapers.
Like the GeoCities pages, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like welcome to my weird corner of the internet. You could put a song on there. You could share weird, experiences that you had. They were all sort of like diaries for the public, where we got to let our freak flags fly. And I think, then you you introduce something like Facebook, and now it's hard to even imagine a landscape like that on the internet because everything is so uniform, right? We go on these platforms where all of our profiles basically look the same. There's not a lot of customization that we get in how our different pages look. And I think, yeah, to the point Sara was making, like quantifying friendship and quantifying sort of your social capital, it's just not the most healthy way, especially as a teenager, to go about your life. Like we should have a vague sense of how popular someone is. We shouldn't have a number, right? That's just not a very healthy way, because then you have something to obsess over and to compare. And I think we do have a crisis of comparison that has been born out of these social media apps.
Mm-hmm. So the idea of attention being almost like a form of currency is an interesting concept to me in this day and age. Your film obviously has attention right in the name. There's all these conversations that have been happening around the attention economy. You know, what do you think people need to know about the importance of attention right now?
I think one piece, I don't know if you made it this far in a film yet, but we are comparing kind of the price of oil to the price of attention right now, and how much money can be made with that. And last time we checked, it was, mining attention seemed to be around 5 times more profitable than mining oil. And we can feel right now what it feels like when oil prices go up. So you can just imagine by that just how incredibly valuable that is. And I think us going through our everyday life, we don't think about it that way, right? We're like, oh, me looking at cat videos on Instagram, like how can that be such a valuable resource? And at the same time, it's something that's being taken away from us. So our focus is not as much in our control as it used to be and as we'd want it to be. So I think understanding the immense power that is on the other side of that is a really helpful first step to realizing, like, okay, this is a difficult battle for the individual, but it's also a really important one.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like back before 2016, our feeds were chronological, and you could go on and basically spend whatever, for most people, it's probably 30 to 60 minutes, like checking up on some stuff their friends said. The algorithms got introduced. And I think with the algorithms, this great shift in how the companies realized how much more sticky they could make their products by sort of analyzing your behavior online, things that you hover over a little longer, right? Even if you hover on a piece of content for 3 seconds instead of 2 seconds, that piece of data is stored by the company that says, okay, Jack likes that a little bit more than that other thing we just showed him before. So let's continue recombining what we can show him so that we maximize eyeballs on screen. And the problem is now with the growth model that they've, basically measured themselves against, or where they need to head to. If we all in society use social media for 2 hours a day, there would not be enough growth for the companies based on what they need to project out for their profits. So they need to come for all the free seconds and free time that we are not currently spending on these platforms. They're trying to get it, right? And there's actually a bidding war over those free seconds and moments that we have in our lives. That if TikTok comes into the scene, now Instagram's like, okay, TikTok has these short form video things that's taken all this market share away from us. We need to come in and compete with that with our own short form scrollable videos. You can see the arms race for our attention playing out in that way.
That's how we got YouTube Shorts too.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So Milwaukee Film Festival is happening now in the city. How did this film end up at the Milwaukee Film Festival, and what are you looking forward to with the festival here?
Great question.
Great question. Yeah, we submitted to a bunch of festivals. We were really excited about Milwaukee. It's such a great festival. Elise, who's our publicist and AP, has been here multiple times in the past and really warmly recommended it. And then we were thinking about, festivals in the US who we could go to after our premiere to continue the conversation. And so we're super stoked to be here. We have 2 screenings coming up. And yeah, it'll be so exciting to share the film with the Milwaukee festival goers and film lovers.
Yeah, and I think we obviously like going to big festivals too for other reasons, and this is a big festival, but more, I think this is a big festival that's remained kept that small festival spirit that a lot of people sort of know and love about film festivals. I knew when we were working with the hospitality coordinator, and he was like, so, we'll have you to like the bowling alley after night 1, and everyone's going to kind of head over there after the screening and mingle. I was like, this just definitely has that like walking the streets, meeting people, popping into little theaters vibe. And I think that's what makes film festivals so special, is like keeping that sort of small town energy even when it gets bigger. So super excited. I also grew up in Chicago. Milwaukee was always a short hop away. So for me, it was a very proud moment to come back to the Midwest.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, last thing then, what is your hope for what people will take away from this film?
I hope that people, wake up the next day and pick up their phone and then have a little moment where they think about it. It's going to start there. It's going to start small. I think they can start to think about little things they can introduce into their life. Like maybe my phone should live in the kitchen and not right by my head while I sleep. Maybe when me and my friends are getting dinner, we should agree to just put them away for half an hour. That's the beginning. And then I also think it's, thinking more, if you're a parent, about like how this might influence your kid's life and what kind of like-minded folks you can align with, that can help you sort of navigate the challenges of the digital landscape. And then I think, just thinking about how you can stay up on the current news, with legislation and, phones coming out of schools. And there's a way to get involved in basically every community. So we want to sort of open people's eyes to that you can kind of get involved no matter how big or small.
And also, I very much hope that we give people hope, in a sense that this issue can feel so large and these companies are so powerful and there's so much money involved, right? That it can feel like this really David and Goliath battle, that seems like too much to take on. And what we show in the film is just there's so many different ways to get active in this space and change things for the better. And some are really small and some are really large. And there's all these amazing people working on, creating a better technology future for all of us, and especially for our kids. And we're also in this really interesting moment right now. We had the social media addiction trial verdicts a couple of weeks ago, and we can see this, shift of public opinion, and recognizing, courts recognizing now that this has to change, and these companies knew what they were doing and they need to be held liable. So I think we're going to see a lot of development, and it's a really exciting time to get involved.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know for me personally, I am way too online, especially as, a political journalist. I'm on Twitter way too much, and I need to start pumping the brakes a little bit on that. And your film is definitely making me reconsider some things. So I appreciate that. And best of luck to you guys at the Milwaukee Film Festival and with this film going forward.
Thanks so much, Dan. It's great to chat with you.
Thank you.
Bye.